Yep, I'm good to go. Okay, guys, it's Friday. Okay, this is Dr. 𝘿𝙧 Performance Plus Physical Therapy. All right, this is Friday. Today is the 15th of May. Time is flying along, and this is the last video in my shoulder series in Q&A with Dr. D. Okay, so today, guys, I'm going over all of the exercises that you guys should work on if you have a wonky shoulder, or you want to really improve the flexibility and the strength of your shoulder. You want to take a look at this. You want to tag someone. This is some really great information. I'm going to go over today some stretches, basic stretches for the shoulder, my top 3 stretches that works really well for the shoulder. And then I'm going to go over 3 sets of exercises. I'm going to do basic, intermediate, and advanced exercises for the shoulder. Okay, so if you have had a shoulder issue, there's something in this exercise video for you. So take a look, pay attention, stay with me. Okay, so guys, a little bit of a preamble before I get into the exercises. One thing that's really important to know, a lot of people think of the shoulder as just this, but as if you went over some of the very first videos that I did, you would understand that the shoulder is actually a pretty complex joint, and it's made up of a couple of different joints, at least 4 different ones that we look at as physical therapists, that all have to work to give you the actual motion and also the flexibility and strength that you're looking for. Okay, so that's very important to understand. So you would find with these exercises, it's not just about doing that or doing that or doing bicep curls. A lot of times, if you're looking at exercises for the shoulder, these are not the muscles that are particularly weak. It's usually the muscles that are responsible for the stability of the shoulder. And those muscles are usually twofold. It's the rotator cuff muscles. Take a look at the video from yesterday. That will give you a little bit more information about that. Those 4 groups of muscles that sit on the shoulder blade. Or it's going to depend on the strength and the stability of your scapulothoracic joint, which basically is the articulation between the scapula or the shoulder blade and your rib cage. Okay, if this is stable, and this is the stable base of the shoulder, if it is not stable, I'll turn it a bit this way so you can see. If this is not stable, guys, you don't have a stable base, and you cannot go through all of the range that your shoulder has. And you will find that strengthening is going to be very difficult for you. And a lot of the things that we went through in terms of the issues that can develop with the shoulder can manifest in that situation. So you would find that any physical therapist or orthopedist that works with you is going to focus on the next set of exercises that I'm going to go over. Okay, guys? So just wanted to get that cleared up. So again, 3 stretches, and then we're going to go through a couple of exercises that you guys can work on. Again, I'm going to do basic, intermediate, and advanced exercises so that you can pick where you are in terms of difficulty and then work on those exercises. Okay, so exercise number 1, a really good one that I like to do for the shoulder is really stretching out the posterior capsule or the muscles on the back of the shoulder, specifically the rotator cuff muscles. So you grab your elbow, you pull it across your body, and in that position you're really stretching out the back of the shoulder. Common mistake with this stretch, guys, people like to kind of put their shoulder up in this position. That's very common. You want to make sure that your shoulder is down and back. All right, and even better would be for you to isolate that stretch a lot more, would be for you to stand against a wall, or you can do this laying down so that the floor supports your body, and really make sure that you isolate that joint. Okay, so that's stretch number 1. Stretch number 2, guys, you're going to grab your elbow, put it up above your head. Okay, this is your tricep stretch. Okay, the triceps is a pair of 3 muscles that go all the way from the back of the shoulder all the way to the elbow. They are responsible for shoulder extension and a little bit of shoulder extension depending on how you're doing your mechanics, but it can get really tight at the top part of the shoulder right here. So you want to grab your elbow, pull it, and just try to drop your arm behind your back as much as you possibly can. And what I like to do with this exercise is I like to lean away. Okay, I love doing the standing more, but I'll do it sitting for you guys. And in this position, you're really going to get a stretch that's going to go down your rib cage and down into the top of your hip. Okay, and that's not only stretching your triceps, but it's also stretching a bit of your latissimus dorsi, and that's a muscle that really kind of hinges a bit on the stability of the shoulder coming in from the back. Okay, so to review that, grab onto the elbow, bring it up over your head, pull it in line with your shoulder as much as possible. If you can go further, as you can see a little bit, I can go a little bit further. And then you lean away from that position, making sure that you're not rotating your chest, and your chest or your sternum, your breastbone is pointing straight ahead. So you can feel that stretch all the way down towards your hip, okay? So that's stretch number 2, okay? Stretch number 3 focuses on the subscapularis muscle, and that's the big internal rotator of the shoulder. This is a muscle that's frequently not stretched, but usually one that pops up a lot in terms of rotator cuff issues. So for that, you want to use something like this, okay? You can use a strap. This is called a stretch out strap, or you can use a towel. Either one of those will give you the same effect, okay? And in this position, I'm going to use the loops of it in order to give myself a little bit more stability, and I'm going to turn this way. You're getting your arm behind your body, and you're using the strap to try and pull your arm up behind your back as far as you can, okay? I'm pretty flexible, guys, so it's not about how far you can go, it's about how much of a stretch you feel in that shoulder. For guys that are super flexible, you may not feel a stretch in this position. Another way that you can do this stretch would be to lay onto your side, okay? In this position, let me scoot down a bit. All right, in this position, you want to get your elbow directly across from your shoulder, all right? Your right arm, I'm using my right arm for this one, is nice and relaxed. You're moving your right arm with your left. And you want to put your left hand behind your wrist and slowly and gently push it down to the floor. You're going to feel that stretch coming all the way up into the back of the shoulder. And depending on how hard you push, you can get that into your elbow, okay? So this is called your sleeper stretch, okay? And this is a stretch for your subscapularis muscle, all right? So once you stretch those muscles out, guys, you're gonna really feel that the back of the shoulder is nice and open. There are stretches that you can do for the front of the shoulder also in terms of doorway stretches and reaching behind you that way. So now that your shoulders are nice and loose, now we can do some exercises, okay? So, basic exercises for the shoulder, guys, all right? I love TheraBands, okay? I think that they're super versatile. You can take them anywhere with you, and they're just amazing resistance if you know how to use them. So I'm going to show you how to use these today. If you do not have TheraBands, guys, you can use a long TheraBand, or you can use the loops that I like to use, or you can use weights. Light weights, I would advise that you guys start at a low end and then kind of bring yourself up a bit. If you don't have weights at home, guys, good old a bottle. This is about 1 pound. This is a bottle of Asian sauce. This is a bottle of cherries. It's just about 2 pounds. This can give you all of the resistance that you need until you get some weights, because we all know that Amazon is backed up right now. So that's some options for you guys. I'm going to use both so you can have some options. So basic rotator cuff strengthening exercises, guys, okay, works on the rotational component of the shoulder, okay? The rotator cuff, one of its major motions is to externally rotate the shoulder, and working on that range is very important in a neutral position, which is where I am right now, all the way to 90-degree angle and even higher up in that position, okay? The higher you go, the more advanced it is and the more difficult it is. We're gonna start all the way at a neutral position. So in this position, if you have a loop, you can use your other arm as your anchor, or if you have a straight line in terms of a resistance band, you want to tie it to something and anchor it, okay? So I'm using my other hand as my anchor. You're going to catch your elbows to your side, thumbs go up to the ceiling. Make sure that your elbow stays here, and you're going to rotate your arm out to the side and back in, okay? This looks deceptively easy, guys, to do. It's actually very easy to do it incorrectly, like this, where my elbow leaves my side, or like this, where I'm lifting up away from me versus rotating from the shoulder. So really make sure, guys, that you want to anchor your elbows to your side and pull all the way out. If you have an active shoulder injury, you want to give that rotator cuff and that supraspinatus a little bit more space. You want to get a towel rolled up like this, put it underneath your elbow to give it a little bit more space to work in, and then do it that way so you can correctly do the exercise, okay? I love to start with sets of 10. As you're doing this exercise, you're going to feel that that top part of your shoulder is doing a lot of the work, okay? You can see that I'm rotating all the way out to the side. I'm not using my wrist to try and get that motion. My wrist is in a neutral position. and I'm pulling all the way out and pulling in, okay? That's exercise number one. Basic exercise number two is going to work on the stability of the scapula. So for this, you're getting your towel, you're putting it on the floor so you have some space for your head, you're laying face down. And for this, I'll use this a little bit later, but I'm going to use these in a second. So here, you're laying face down, all right? And we're going to put our arms down to our side, and we're lifting our arms off of the floor, okay? And then lifting up to about 90 degrees, and then back down, okay? So you can see that I'm bringing my shoulders, and I'm pinching my shoulders up into this position so they're pinched together, not arching my back, making sure my chest is flat on the floor, but I'm pinching my shoulders, I'm lifting off the floor, I'm hovering off the floor, lifting to about 90 degrees. My shoulders are not up towards my ears, and then bringing it back down. So it's really about making sure that your scapula, guys, or your shoulder blade is nice and flat and anchored against your rib cage, okay? Once you get into positions like this or like this, from an anatomical standpoint, you're not flush with your rib cage, and you want to make sure that you are flush with your rib cage so it's in the right position, okay? So that rounds up your basic exercises. I'm gonna check to see, hey, quite a few people on here. Hey, Joanne. Hey, 𝘿𝙧. Hey, friend. Hey, Dawn, how are you? Hey, Arlene. Dawn, we gotta catch up. I haven't spoken to you in a long time. So we are going to go on to your intermediate exercises, okay? So with intermediate exercises, guys, as I said before, hey, Jason, how are you? As I said before, once you start in a neutral position, you have less of a challenge. As you get up to a 90-degree angle, you have more of a challenge. So one of my favorite exercises to do to kind of progress that once you've gone through those exercises, those are very easy. You want to get up a little bit more. You put that loop around your elbow, all right? And you kind of put your hands together like this, kind of like 𝘿𝙧. 90-degree angle, your elbows are directly opposite your shoulders. Okay, in this position, you're going to rotate up and down. Okay, this again looks super easy, but is not easy to do. Okay, start with reps of 10. Okay, take a break. You're going to feel that burn happening right over here. I'll turn this way so you guys can see. All right, so starting here, rotate up and then back down. Okay, so you're working at a 90-degree angle and really working on the stability of that shoulder. Okay. Exercise number 2 that you can do is to progress the one that we just did for the scapular stability, but now you want to use a little bit of a weight. This is about a 1-pound weight. So I'm going to get down here. All right. And then I'm lifting up and I'm bringing it into this position. So I'm in a 90-degree angle and then back down. Okay. And that's my motion. Okay. Again, guys, for this, you want to get into sets of 10 as your beginning set, and that's going to allow you to really work on those muscles. So now you're adding a bit of resistance to it, okay? So that is your intermediate set of exercises. Now, advanced one, which is one of my more fun stuff, okay? So for this one, you're going to get your band again, and again, you can use a loop or you can use a longer stretch. For the longest stretch, guys, I do prefer for this particular exercises, for the loops, I prefer the loops because it's just a lot easier for me to carry around and transport. But a longer stretch of a band will actually be a little bit better for this exercise. I'm going to stand for this one, and hopefully you guys can see me here. So with this one, you are actually moving your arm in a little bit of a diagonal position like that. Trying to make sure that everyone can see me on Facebook and also on IG. Okay, so we're doing that motion. You start with your thumbs pointing down, and then you rotate up, up, up with the thumbs pointing up to get all the way opposite your shoulder. You're resisting that motion. Okay, I'm going to use my left arm as my anchor. So starting here again, and I think everyone can see me. My left arm is my anchor. I'm rotating all the way up and then back down. Okay, and notice I'm not trying to bend or lift my arm in that position. I'm really trying to keep my arm in that nice extended position all the way through. If you do it from the side in this position, you should see that my shoulder is not going to go up like that. I'm keeping my shoulder down. Okay? So this is a really good exercise because it works quite a bit of muscles. It works the rotator cuff muscles and the scapulothoracic muscles all at once, which is why it's an advanced exercise, okay? And then one of my other favorites is once you guys really get through a lot of the heavy weights and the heavy resistances, you want to start progressing your exercises to body weight resisted stuff, because we want to see how your shoulder can do when it's in what we call a closed pack position, meaning that your hands are anchored to the floor. It requires a different kind of stability, and it also requires a little bit more stability through the rest of the trunk and the body in order for the shoulder to do its work. So it's one of the favorite things that I want to do. And you guys have probably seen a lot of these things before, but now you understand a little bit of the why in terms of why we ask you to do these exercises. So in that position, anything with a plank position really is requiring you to work in that closed pack position, which allows you a lot more shoulder stability in terms of the muscles that are going to be responsible for keeping your shoulder nice and flush with the rib cage, and also engaging the scapular muscles and the stability scapulothoracic muscles, okay? You would see a lot of people start in this position, okay? And they can progress all the way up here. And you can start with static holds. You can do shifts over into that position. I'm gonna show you guys one that, again, once you've gotten to quite a bit of stability, is a lot of fun to do because it engages your core, it engages your legs, it just works everything, but it's a really good shoulder workout. So from here, you're gonna push up onto your left arm, reach for your opposite toes, come back down to your plank position. Back up, reach for the opposite side, and down. So this is one of my favorite ones to do because it really requires single arm stability and strength, okay? So, a lot of fun. So I'm gonna check the comments to see if anyone has any questions for me. Let's see. Any questions to me, guys that are on and listening? I'm gonna check on Facebook. Jason says, hi Dee, hey, how are you? I know I've tortured Jason with some of these exercises before. So any questions, guys? I really kind of covered quite a bit of a span of exercises for you guys. So you have your stretches, all of the things that can really loosen up the shoulders, and then you have from basic to intermediate to advanced exercises that can really benefit you guys. Do we have any questions? Let's see. Arlene says, for the plank exercise, do I keep my heels lifted or can they go up and down? So I'll go over, Arlene, the technique for that one. With the plank exercise, your heels are going to naturally descend to the floor. I think that's your question. I'm going to scoot forward a little bit so you can see me better on IG. So in this position, when I go to that pike position, all right, you can drop your heels down to get a nice little bit of a stretch. I'm more concerned about what your shoulder is doing. So as you get here, you can drop your heels down to reach over to your toe and come back up, okay? So it's really more about what's happening with the shoulders than what's happening with the legs, if that makes more sense. So to go over the shoulders again, Arlene, for that, what you want to do is you want to make sure that you're pushing through. A lot of times we sink down into that position. I'll come back here a bit. So a lot of times people sink down, okay? You want to make sure that you pull up out of your chest and you're keeping that lifted position as you push away and shift your weight and reach for your toes. So I'm hoping that answers your question. Yes? Hey, Mikkel, how are you? Any other questions? I hope that answered your question, Arlene. Let's see, Facebook. Lynn, hi, Dr. Snyder-Macula, how are you? Thank you. So glad you can join us. Okay, any other questions, guys? I hope you guys are doing well. So guys, that concludes today's video and the shoulder series. Next week, we're moving on to the elbow. And the elbow is going to be a little bit tricky. I'm going to see how I can incorporate it with the wrist. We may do it separately, we may not do it separately. We'll see how it goes. But next week we're getting into the elbow, okay? And this should be some really interesting things for you guys to cover in terms of all of the fun things that can happen with the elbow. Of course, I'm being sarcastic, but quite a couple of interesting things that can happen at the elbow that also contributes to the shoulder. So kind of going along what we've been talking about for the past couple of weeks in terms of it's really important to have a holistic approach in looking at not just one body part, but looking all the way at the chain and down the chain. It's really, really important. Okay, guys, so it's actually pretty warm weather here in the DC area. I hope you guys are having a wonderful week. Please have some fun, get out, get some sun this weekend, and I will see you guys next week. All right, bye guys.